Mr. Rogers was one of the most beloved and impactful TV personalities of the 20th century, a positive presence in the life of everyone who encountered him. But how did he get to that point? What were the steps he took each day that allowed him to create life-changing episodes of his show for over 3 decades? As an aspiring TV show host myself, I've decided I'm going to try to walk a mile in his shoes to see if I can understand him better and see if I can figure out what it was that just made him so successful. Mr. Rogers used to say, discovering the truth about ourselves is a lifetime's work, but it's worth the effort. And that's why I'm so excited to get into this challenge. I'm hoping to discover sort of like, what were the steps that a person took to create a mindset like that? Good morning. So it's actually 4:39 a.m. Actually, Mr. Rogers would start his day at 5:30 a.m. every day. So why am I up now? I don't know. I went to bed last night at like 1:30 a.m. but I think that my body was just so excited for this challenge that it just like naturally I woke up. And so already I'm seeing like sort of why Mr. Rogers would get up so early, because like you sort of start off with like this anticipation for the day, and I can already see the benefits. So Mr. Rogers would start his day before breakfast or anything, swimming for 20 minutes at his local YMCA. I'm gonna do that today. I don't have access to a swimming pool, so I'll be swimming in the ocean. Let's just dive right in.
Get a drum as a toy for Christmas.
The reason Mr. Rogers would take this swim every single day is because it allowed him to sort of slip into a trance-like state where he would just sort of focus on nothing at all, and that's where his best ideas would come to him for his show. He would have ideas to write this script, that script, and so it was something he would never miss out on every single day he took this swim. So I didn't necessarily have any like script ideas like Mr. Rogers would when he would swim, but I do feel pretty invigorated, so I could totally see why he would start his day like this. Now, after swimming, Mr. Rogers would always weigh himself. So there was something very interesting about Mr. Rogers' weight, and we'll get into that in just a moment. Every day after his swim, Mr. Rogers would step on a scale and look at the weight, and it would always be 143 pounds. And the meaning that he gave to this was 143. I love you. That's how many letters was in each one. So he would look at this and it would be a positive affirmation coming at him. I do not weigh 143 pounds, but I'm gonna try and find a similar acronym for my weight. If I wanna say 136, I see 6 F-U-T-U-R-E. I see future. All of the tiredness is now hitting me. I feel kind of like I'm gonna throw up. Once I get home, then I'll feel better. So every day after swimming, Mr. Rogers would pray and read the Bible. Now, I'm not someone who prays, or I don't have a Bible, but my form of prayer has always been more of the way of like affirmations. And one thing Mr. Rogers would do would pray for all his fans. And I will sort of incorporate that into the affirmation aspect by doing an affirmation that's positive towards fans as well. I am likable, I am great, I will have a TV show. I am likable, I am great, I will have a TV show. I am likable, I am great, I will have a TV show. I inspire my fans. I inspire my fans. I inspire my fans. I inspire my fans. I inspire you. Mr. Rogers would also read the Bible before eating breakfast. Now, I don't personally own a Bible, so I'm just gonna listen to it on an audiobook, and then we can begin my favorite part of the day. Breakfast. Oh, vegetarian breakfast, by the way, because he was a vegetarian, like me. The reason Mr. Rogers chose to be vegetarian was because he loved animals.
Love you.
Oh, it's that?
Let there be light.
So, we got berries, banana, spinach, we're gonna do flaxseed oil, and protein powder.
And there shall be one flesh. And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked and I hid myself. And he said, who took the woman whom thou gavest to be with me?
That was an excellent smoothie, and you know, Mr. Rogers was such a positive person that I think that it's exactly what I need at this moment in my life. And that's the thing about Mr. Rogers, is he's just so positive and especially impactful during a time if you're ever feeling stressed or anything like that. Now it's time for the part of the challenge that I'm most excited about. Every day after breakfast up until his 3 p.m. afternoon nap, Mr. Rogers would work on his television show. So, I do not have a television show, but I really want one. And for the past year, I've been wanting to write a pitch for my game show Smoothie Madness to be on TV. But every time I start to write the pitch, I get sidetracked by wanting to make YouTube videos instead and wanting to make the game show on YouTube instead. And so now is kind of perfect because now I can work on the video by working on the pitch, just as Mr. Rogers would do. So, let's jump right in. Being on the air for over 30 years, Mr. Rogers was able to impact an incredible amount of lives through his TV show. It was always a positive message that taught people things that they had not previously thought about. Things that were as simple as this all the way to that. From kindness all the way to whether it's about this subject or that subject, there was nothing off limits for him. He absolutely was passionate about it, and his show brought people so much joy and made such a positive impact. And that's exactly what I want to do with my show.
The space between the television screen and whoever happens to be receiving it, I consider that very holy ground.
I'm already feeling inspired by this whole experiment, and it's only day one, and yeah. This sleep schedule, I don't know if it entirely works for me, but now I'm gonna go return to the desk and get back on track with Mr. Rogers' routine. So it's almost 3 o'clock, and pretty much I've spent most of this time like looking at the internet and on my phone and stuff, and so yeah, let's jump into the next part of the routine, the nap. So I've set my timer for 30 minutes, and it will be nice to catch up on some sleep. So the alarm went off and woke me up. It feels really nice to have taken a nice nap, and I could totally see myself making that part of my day.
Get a drama
The other thing Mr. Rogers would do before going to bed at 9:30 p.m. every day was he would famously respond to every fan letter he received. Now, I do not have any fan mail, but what I'll do is I'll do a YouTube live stream, which I've never done before, so it's kind of exciting. And I will reply to every single bit of advice people ask for or every compliment they give. And so yeah, we'll do that for 30 minutes and then we'll jump into the next part of his routine. Hello, so thanks for joining. If anyone needs any advice or would like to, I will respond to whatever you say. Yes, a live stream. What is up? Doing good. Just today I'm doing on this live stream, just responding to people. And I'm struggling with tests and revision. Any advice for coping? Just study more and stick with it. The darkest hour is always right before the dawn. How many friends do I have? Numbers are not the most important thing.
We get so wrapped up in numbers in our society, and the most important thing is that we're able to be one-to-one.
Yeah, keep your head up if you're going through a breakup. How should I discipline my nephew? Kids are... just be very kind. Where do you see yourself in 40 years? Having hosted a game show for 40 years, longest running game show ever on television. Do you still prefer short hair or long hair? I've been liking having short hair. Thanks for asking. I will make sure to answer every question. Any advice on beating tiredness? Take a nap. That's what I did. I woke up at 4:30 a.m. today, took a nap, and it helped a lot. So I did that for a total of 25 minutes. It seemed like I was able to give some decent advice to some people. It was pretty fun, and yeah, I hope that everyone was satisfied with that experience and that it felt sort of like Mr. Rogers. So the last thing Mr. Rogers would do before going to bed at 9:30 p.m. is spend time with his family. I do not have any family in Los Angeles, so I've just been swiping on Tinder, sort of like, you know, for a prospective dating situation. And what I was about to do is set my alarm for like 5:30 a.m. to get up and do it again tomorrow, drive to the beach and all that. But as I thought about it, I was like, wow, I have actually learned so much already today. Like, this day has educated me so much in one single day of like living like Mr. Rogers and following his routine. Like, I think I've already gathered every single thing of like how important it is to follow a routine, like this sort of, how intentionally he developed his routine, how every aspect of how positive it is, and how kind he is. And I think that's the main aspect of his legacy, is that he was just like such a force of positivity and force of nature, that I think it's like makes sense that, of course, this would be his routine. What will I take from it and what will I leave? I'll start waking up earlier because that really worked well. I understand the appeal. Maybe not 4:30, maybe more like 7 or 8. Go straight on a hike. And yes, do affirmations where I also add in the aspect of, yes, I am inspiring to people. Maybe I'll do live streams every day like that to thank everyone again and offer advice and just be more like that. And so yeah, his legacy was so good, so good. All this stuff that I've learned is because of all that effort he put into wanting to be a positive force. And so yeah, it really just reflects on every aspect of his routine as just seeped into me today. And so yeah, I think I'm so glad I did this. Thank you for watching, and thank you, Mr. Rogers.
It's such a good feeling to know that we're lifelong friends.